Welcome back, you beautiful gamers, to another Respawn recap. Hello, Nicholas.
Hey, Jake.
Ready to get this one off?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get it rolling. And certainly, Nicky Boy, a very hot topic this past week was going to deal with Counter-Strike. If you guys did miss it, two top figures in the past week or so have targeted either CSGO as a whole or North American CSGO. That being Shroud and tarik, currently for Evil Geniuses. Shroud, obviously a former Cloud9 pro, and under heavy fire for his 2 cents this past week. A focus on what Shroud said in a clip out there as he went on to say CSGO is undeniably dying.
And obviously, a huge reason for that is because, or at least what Shroud says, partially, is because a lot of those pros are actually moving over to Valorant, right? Would you actually agree on that? Do you think that CSGO is dying because of that?
I think a lot of watchers out there would maybe more so agree with tarik and his take. tarik had a focus on North American CSGO and maybe not death. He was more so joking, but certainly struggling as compared to what you said with Valorant. Tons of pros, IGLs, coaches leaving for a brand new esport. Of course, what everyone else is seeing is the COVID experience, as a lot of North American teams are leaving to go to Europe to boot camp, to practice. Yeah, certainly North American talent is very, very limited right now. The giant lingering question, is this what it's been for a long time? So is North American CSGO really dying, or is this how it's always been?
And up next, Jakey, something that I've talked about a whole bunch here on the channel, and probably will continue to as the Overwatch League continues doing its thing, and that's a whole bunch of Overwatch League pros leaving that game and exiting the scene. And actually, previously, it was the Houston Outlaws former general manager, Flame, posting that there was only 62 players still left under contract, and I think at this moment it's even lower now because the Toronto Defiant has dropped even more of their people, meaning that almost 75% of the Overwatch League is actually unemployed now, or those players were. So,
I mean, obviously pretty crazy, and yes, a number of those pros will get their jobs back. I think Siegel made a great point to a lot of teams trying to save money, but also other reasons as to why teams are doing this, because if you want a championship level roster, you're going to need changes like a lot of these teams did. But to your point, 75% as Overwatch 2 is around the corner. It's just like for Call of Duty League, we saw it go from 5v5 to 4v4, that drop off of one job, and also the minimum requirement of rosters, so subs were also dropped. Between these two franchise leagues, we are seeing dozens and dozens, probably over 100 jobs being lost. Only a number of those are recouped. So that's why it's being called a massacre, because these franchise leagues, which we thought were going to be establishing some sort of consistency and solidarity for players, seems to be leaving a lot of them without jobs.
A bit of failure. And, just as time goes on and as Overwatch 2, starts coming out the door, we'll just have to see if that kind of revitalizes the esport at all, or if it just leaves it in the dust.
We shall see. And definitely a reoccurring issue for a lot of streamers out there, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube, the few people out there on Facebook as well, and especially when it comes for a female demographic of streamers. It was actually 100 Thieves content creator and streamer Brooke AB coming out this past week with a terrifying stalker story, going into detail about several stalkers who had pursued her in real life, as well as her family and her friends, with just some pretty crazy stuff, and an issue that we've actually seen with now several female streamers coming out with their stories.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, I don't want to push aside Brooke's story, but I think the biggest part about this is probably just how often it happens to other people as well. And it's like, I'm really glad that she actually came out about her story, because it brings a lot of attention to other people's stories as well, and maybe other people that are kind of scared to even talk about it, because it is a very real issue, and something that just happens way too often. And I imagine it took a lot of courage to kind of come out and say something like that to the public.
Yeah, and certainly a lot of us probably can understand exactly where they're coming from and experiencing those kind of things. I think a great point in her post as well, in the future, she's going to help all the people out there and streamers who do not have the voice and the reach she does. So all of those, mid-tier or smaller streamers out there who cannot actually have a team pursue these kind of people that are going after them, she actually plans on launching some sort of business, co-align with other female streamers to help other streamers who are dealing with this kind of stalking issue. So a great move from Brooke AB and 100 Thieves yet again. We will see what the future of that actually is. Ooh, ooey gooey. Probably one of the biggest signings this past week. You guys can leave a comment down below. Any other big streamer signings this year. We've seen a guy like FaZe Clan and Nick Merckx extend their partnership. We've seen Luminosity Gaming sign XQC, and what probably rivals that in size, that's going to be the one, the only, Tyler One, aka T1, joining T1 Esports.
Bound to happen, right? It's like
it was fate, baby.
Yeah, I feel like this was like years in the making. I mean, I don't know, because T1, like, you look back at their like original League of Legends days, right, where it was just like they were known for Faker, like specifically Faker, and then they kind of like forayed out into like gathering more streamers and more like North American talent, I should say.
Definitely.
And that's like, I think that's a huge move for T1, honestly. Like, that is the right thing for them to do, I would say.
I completely agree to your point, especially with the rise of Valorant. All of a sudden, they got 3 rosters there, one prominent roster in North America.
That's true.
With the iBuyPower Boys. I think you're totally right. You know, they definitely had a dominance there in the Asian scene and making their branch on the way over. They continue their giant moves in other esports and now signing the coveted T1, who, by the way, will be doing content with Faker as well. So a great signee. I'm sure an expensive one. T1 Esports making big moves, and it does continue. And holy nutter butters, man oh man, DMCA is back yet again. If you have a favorite streamer, they were most likely struck or actually given a notice of DMCA round 2, I believe, this time around. The unfortunate time as well with Twitch is another lack of communication. We've had several streamers out there complaining, as with this second wave of notices for DMCA, they've actually gone ahead and deleted a bunch of content without permission from the Twitch streamers.
I don't even know what to say at this point, because it's like we looked at this happen before, right? And it sucked just as much then, and now here it is again. But I think it's even, I want to say it's an even bigger wave this time. Like, I'm
Very
not,
much so.
Right? Yeah. So, and that's a ton of people being hit for crap that's like, I want to say, you know, out of their fault. Like, obviously you could go back and delete all those VODs, but that's such a pain, and that's like damaging your own personal brand. And man, Twitch, please, just pull it together, dog.
I don't know what the solution is going to be, but it sucks. You know, we make videos involving a lot of these clips, and sometimes you want to go back and look at moments. I remember I was just trying to go look back at a Tyler 1 moment with donations, and the clip's just gone because they've all been wiped.
That's history.
And so we have to start fresh now. How many years later? You got to put yourself in these Twitch streamers' shoes. Their livelihoods, you know, all their work. Imagine Esports Talk has to delete everything. I would be heart-wrenched. So that's what every one of these Twitch streamers is feeling right now. Will there be a better solution? We do not know. Was it poorly communicated by Twitch? Of course it was. As per usual, we hope you guys all enjoyed the Respawn recap. Nicholas, why don't you show these fine folks the door, and we'll see them next week.
Oh, the door's actually over there this time.
Oh, it's over there?
Yeah.
Take your
it's
steps.
still over there.
Walk away. We'll see you guys back here next week. Take care, gamers.
Bye-bye.
I love you.
I love you.